Padres fans, let's talk about losing out on another superstar, all-star caliber reliever headed to potentially a division rival. Robert Suarez news swirling around the Major League hot stove. Let's talk about it all in this episode of Padres Digest and exactly what this means for the Padres bullpen this coming season. What's going on, everybody? Christian Pedersen back with another episode of the show that is okay with this one. Hear me out, though, on it. As always, though, I want to hear from you guys. This is group therapy, because if you are a Padres fan, you know what this is. This is another offseason of talking yourself back into believing that the Friars can do it one way or another. Let's start with the Robert Suarez headline that just for me is okay. But at the same time, I'm like, oh, okay. What I'm saying is when they're talking about him being predicted to make a bunch of money and go to the San Francisco Giants, it's an all-star reliever that we are losing and that a division rival is gaining, whether that means we face him 6 times or 16 times or none at all. I have no prediction on directly what that impact could be between the Padres and long-term success. I don't get the sense that the division is really all that up for the Giants and us deciding. Kind of, the Dodgers are the team to beat. The Dodgers are going to keep being the team to beat. And unless the Dodgers just have one of those like freak down years where everyone's off or injured or whatever, or gets kidnapped because of gambling debts, sure. But right now, Robert Suarez to the Giants, it sucks to hear, but I'm kind of okay with it. I think it's number one thing is it's a sign that his money is going to be he going to get his back. This one also happening because other headlines starting to line up with other closers on the market getting signed and going off the market. Suarez has a pretty good value, has a pretty good idea of what his market value is. I would argue that market value can be different than actual probative value to the team, and that's where I'm getting at is that, like I said, on the Giant side, I don't think that he's the deciding factor between us and them, and either of us winning the NL West, but I also think that it's him being on the Padres, I don't think is necessarily the best thing for everybody in so much as who the Padres have lined up in other closing options or other bullpen formatting options. And let's talk about that in a second. But also, if we're really talking about where are we going to spend money, I don't see how you could make anything beyond the argument of all pitching is good pitching, give me arms, as to why you would spend on a closer as opposed to a bat of any kind, let alone a $60 million bat, a $12 million. What is the dime spin in that bullpen worth it right now? Argument or option of this, or idea or topic of this, number one, being like I said, the who's coming next. And I apologize, as always, to everybody that watches this on a phone if these texts get too small. But logistically, we have, and I don't know, I'm doing the big hands illustration-y point thing, but imagine me doing that behind this full-screen graphic. Like, we have a lot of people. There are arms. So I don't think it's the way that, like, with starting pitching right now, the Padres are so shorthanded that I would say, if we were to lose one more, if a Musgrove or Pivetta or if anybody else goes out, there isn't really we do have physically the bodies, but like we don't have like a gang of dudes who can all potentially fill in the voids. For the bullpen, we do. We have a lot of really good arms. That whole list, top to bottom, you guys can nitpick at some of the people here and there where you're like, situationally, I don't like Yuki or I don't like Wandy or whatever. That's a good, deep bullpen farm system. Want to specifically focus, though, on this group right here and get your guys' opinion. Now that it's less of a hypothetical and more of an actual conversation about Robert Suarez being gone And if anybody out there thinks that Robert Suarez is still coming back as Padre, some sort of discounted deal, make that argument in the comment section. Would love to meet you. But assuming that he's gone, this is what I will call like the back half of the bullpen this year in terms of guys that, you know, the more reliable, more apt to go to them in any bigger, you know, more necessary situation. Who do you like as the closer? I haven't really heard the narrative too much about Mason Miller converting over to being a starter a la Michael King, the way that I thought there would be some strain of that being argued in the offseason. So assuming that Mason Miller is going to remain a bullpen arm, do you just by default go to him? Is there a case to be made for Adrian Morejon? He is a Padres product. He is a lefty, so he's a little something different. He has, I think, proven himself both in the big innings these last 2 seasons, now being an all-star, but also he's proven himself in terms of like when he came up, he was one thing, and then he needed to go back to the minors and tweak it, and he showed that he can develop and learn into roles and situations. So I think he's a guy that, to me, has earned the trust that if we had not made the Mason Miller trade, I would still be saying we've got a closer. But I'm curious, the 1-2 right there, who do you guys identify with as closer? But also, to me, baseball analytics are pushing this in a direction of where I don't really know if like a closer is the right move anymore. The 9th inning, historically speaking, has been what's viewed as like, these are the biggest 3 most important outs in all of baseball. We've got to get these last 3 with our best guy. I've made this argument a couple of times over the course of the last season plus, and you guys had varying degrees of opinions on it. But to me, like, if you're facing the 3, 4, 5 guys in the 8th inning, and then the 7, 8, 9 or something like that in the 9th inning, is the 9th inning really the biggest 3 outs, or was getting those 3 outs in the 8th to prevent that team from being able to use the best part of their lineup actually the biggest inning? Makes me kind of think that, you know, maybe there's a little bit of, we got enough dudes anyway on this list that we can always have those, call them high leverage innings, quote unquote. Have them ready to have, we can have a guy for every situation. If it's a 7th inning where we need someone to come in and get some strikeouts with the bases loaded, Mason Miller. If it's an 8th, 9th inning, 2 inning save thing, give it to Morejon. If it's 2 guys need a night off, give it to Jason Adam. Give Jeremiah Estrada the 8th, and then there's a couple different permutations where I'm like, okay, cool. I actually don't mind closer by committee, if you will, to be new agey and hit. So kind of it. That's why I leave it. Initially, it's like, okay, that sucks. We're losing somebody to the Giants, but then I'm like, okay, like cool. Seems like a cool setup for what we've got instead of being anchored to being like Suarez has been the guy for a couple years. We always got to use him last. So I don't know. Let me know what you think though. Drop a comment, and like I said, if you want to hit the subscribe button, I ain't gonna say no. Talk to you guys next time.